Hi, welcome to my Hong Kong food vlog where I go over almost everything I eat on my vacation so I could share it with you. My name is Paul and I love both eating and photography. So let's get started. I arrived in the morning, so after unpacking, the first thing that I wanted to go out and get was bolo bao or pineapple bun from this place called Danish Bar. Since this was my first take, I forgot to record the actual food and I just recorded me eating it, but it was bolo bao and it was decent. Next up, I headed to the cupping room at Harbour City so I could work on paper and get some nice harbor views. The sweet pastry balanced out the plain tea. It was nice. For dinner this night, we went to Hainan. This was my first time having coconut hot pot, which was sweet, and I've never had that before. It was unexpected, but I could see myself getting it again. But just to get some comfort food, I also got bozai fan as a side. The next day, I headed over to Hong Cha, which is a cha chan tang where I could get kind of like breakfast foods, Hong Kong style breakfast food. The moment I sat down here, the waiter kept looking at me to order, so I hurriedly ordered a set or a chan, which was this. And macaroni soup is a pretty good breakfast. When I finished my food, I got this dan tat from an adjacent bakery to Hong Cha, and the dan tat was similar quality to what I could get in California, but it was much cheaper. After breakfast, I went over to Tsage, which is a mainland tea outfit that just opened a shop in K11 Art Mall in Tsim Sha Tsui. I ordered through their app, which was like painfully slow. And I got this amazing jasmine milk tea. It was definitely better than anything I've had in California or in Hong Kong for that matter. Just order it normal sweet with less ice and it'll be perfect. For dinner, I went to Tan Zai Sangge, and it's a Michelin place that I really like to eat at because it's really cheap and it's really filling. I got the Da La level, which was the upper limit of what I could handle in terms of spiciness, but the noodles itself was great and the portion size was fantastic. However, since the noodles were so spicy, I had to go get some apple tea from Circle K convenience store, which is right next to Samgol. Next morning, I went to Tu Cafe and saw my mom. It's another cha chan tang. The satay, ngao yok min, the chao dan, the bolo bao, and the dong lai cha was all really good. And the sesame bun wasn't bad, so this was a good and cheap meal. Here I went to Cha Ji again and got this peach oolong tea. At Starbucks on the Avenue of Stars, I walked up to the second floor with my drink and proceeded to work on a paper. The view was great and it really motivated me to work on my paper, but over here there's no power outlets and the Wi-Fi signal was pretty weak. After working on my paper for a while, I went to Leiyun to go get some dinner. This place is famous for their cha siu, which was really delicious, and also their siu yok was delicious. Here's the cha siu, and here's the leung min wong, which is kind of like noodle pizza. On my way home, I got some CC lemon drink, which is like supposedly healthy for you. The next morning, guess who went back to Crescent Bakery to get some more bolo bao for breakfast? This one had butter inside of it, which is pretty interesting, but you don't need to get it with butter. You can just get bolo bao by itself. It's pretty good that way. My real breakfast was supposed to be Shanghai Xianggang Mian Jia, and at this restaurant I got Cong Yao Bang, Daozheng, and Tifan, but none of it was really that great. It was all Mama Day. So I recommend trying another restaurant to go get some Sung Hoi style breakfast food. After the Sung Hoi style breakfast, I went to go work on a paper, and during a break I went to the ubiquitous Haiti. And here's my favorite drink from Haiti, which is the grape cheese boom. After grabbing my Haiti, I looked across the street and found Ning Xiang Yuan, which is a gaidanzai shop. Anyways, I highly recommend getting gaidanzai and trying it. It's delicious. After finishing up my studying at the Central Library, I went to go get this peach tea on my way to dinner. And unfortunately, dinner was a little disappointing. I went to the top of Langham Place, this place called Jasmine, with my family. But the food just wasn't that tasty, and then like the last dish took like an hour to come out, and we were just so impatient and ready to leave. Again, I went to Crescent Bakery for breakfast. This is a chain bakery in Hong Kong, and they're just pretty consistent and pretty good. On my way to K11 in Tsim Sha Tsui, I got 兩個蛋撻，一個雞尾包, and 一個 hot dog. At Naisha next to Cha Ji, I got this mango tea. It was very delicious as well, but it was a little bit sweeter than I would have wanted. That afternoon, I went to West Kowloon so I could go work on my paper and enjoy the nice harbor views. It was a decent matcha latte, but it was $10. I saw people occupying the tables without buying anything, so if you just want that table, I guess you can just grab it. The next morning, I showed up to King Fong with my uncle and my brother, and we got satay ngao yok min with some toast and some chao dan. The King Fong breakfast was great, but now it's lunchtime, so I headed to the top of Moko to Jade Palace to eat lunch with my mom's side of the family, including my pawpaw. Guess what? After hanging out with my mom's side of the family, I had the privilege of hanging out with my dad's side of the family at Golong Tong Club. We got many courses of Chinese food. Skipping over to the morning, I took my brother to this cha tang across from Australia Dairy Company. We were gonna go eat there, but the line was just too long. Because we took so long at the cha tang, we almost missed the ferry out of Central to Pingzhou, but we ended up making it, and our first stop was Welcome Mart. At this Welcome Mart, I got this gongsik lai chau, which is like my favorite Hong Kong style milk tea. It's really good. But guess what? What was even like low-key better than that gongsik lai chau was this mu cha that my mom bought at the same Welcome Mart. It was just like old style Hong Kong lemon milk tea. And it was just like almost as good as the normal vitamin lemon tea. When we got back from our hike on the south side of the island, we decided to stop at this restaurant to go get some lunch. At this restaurant, we ordered a plethora of dishes, but none of them were really that good, so I do recommend coming to another restaurant in Pingzhou instead of this one. But the taste of that restaurant went away quickly because we returned to this Welcome Mart to go get some of that famous brand of tea. Here's the entire selection of tea from the Welcome Mart, but I can't read Chinese, so I have no idea what any of them are. So we got lychee flavor, and it was really good, so I recommend this brand. Also from the convenience store was this ice cream, which was pretty decent, but in my next video, you'll see where I get better ice cream. Since we hiked for so long in Pingzhou, we took a ferry over to Discovery Bay to this place called Muju, where I got a matcha latte. It was definitely too strong, and it wasn't sweet enough, so when I knocked it over, I didn't feel too bad. After taking the ferry back from Discovery Bay, we ended up in Central, where my mom really wanted to have snake.
So here's the snake soup that we had for dinner, but really it didn't taste any different from any other Chinese soups. They had other less exotic dishes, but I think you can tell this is a very traditional restaurant.
On our way home, we stopped by Gai Gai Dessert, which is a place where you can get tong sari, or like dessert soup. At this place, I got some tong yun for dessert, which is on the bottom right side. It's a sweet ginger-flavored soup with rice balls filled with sesame. On the next day, I headed down to Fairwood to go get some spam, egg, and instant noodles with cold lemon tea. This is another classic Hong Kong breakfast. After that quick fast food meal, I headed up to Joyous Gate in Tsim Sha Tsui to go have yum cha with my dad, my uncle, and my mama. Unfortunately, my Chinese isn't good enough to name all these foods for you, but they were all good. This one's called Gong Cao Ngao Hall. That night, my parents invited me to go see a movie with them, so I went out to get a quick dinner at KFC. It ended up being basically the same as American KFC. It's probably just a little bit cheaper.
And since my parents flaked on me that night, I went back to Gai Gai to go get some dessert.
And the wait time for one person is a lot less than the wait time for three. This time I got hak ji ma wu, which is black sesame soup, and I got tong yun with black sesame inside because I'm silly. The next day for lunch, I went to Waso Cafe, which is pretty well known for their noodle soups. I ordered this meal through the app, and the food lived up to the restaurant's name.
By the way, some fast food restaurants in Hong Kong will require you to use your phone to order and then pay at the door when you finish.
That afternoon, I went to see my mom's friend for some life advice at this cafe called MOC Cafe across from Harbor City. Over here, I just ordered some tea time snacks, which were just decent, but the view was really nice and I could see myself working there for a while. Fast forward to the evening, on my way to my grandma's birthday party, I headed over to the lemon tea shop in the ferry terminal. It wasn't the best idea because the tea was way too sour, but I didn't really know how to order because my Chinese is poor. So I finally made it to my grandma's birthday party at this karaoke place called Win 8 on Hong Kong Island. Every course they served was so delicious. I mean, it was really good, but the highlight was definitely the shrimp and the broccoli. I don't know what they did with it, but it's like gigantic shrimp. It was so delicious. And here's a view of the dining room. It was very private for karaoke. The next day, I headed over to Macau with my family, and I went to Lord Stowe's Bakery to go get some dan tat. My hands were definitely full when I filmed this, but the dan tat was the best one I had on this trip. And the best part is that each one is like less than $1. I didn't have the same luck going to this milk pudding shop. Here I got their milk pudding with red bean on top, but the milk pudding was just too plain. After going on a Ferris wheel, we ended up at a Lorca, which is a Macanese Portuguese hybrid restaurant. This was one of the surprise highlights of my trip. I didn't expect it to be this good, but like every single dish was really well made. Here's the clams with the garlic flavor, was just amazing. And here's the short ribs, and you should know I just love short ribs in general. And this is the crab soup with rice. And this is the final short rib dish, followed by two simple but very nice desserts. Good job, Alorca. Next day for lunch, we were in Futian district of Shenzhen, where we got this curry. We couldn't figure out the way to order over the app, so we had to call a waiter over to take our verbal order, and then the food wasn't even that great. This one's a pass. Here's some Hong Dao Sa that we got after getting a massage at a spa. The price for massage in Shenzhen is much cheaper than the US. On one avenue, we visited this fruit stand, which offered citron and olive juice. Again, we couldn't get WeChat Pay to work, so we had to pay in cash. But actually, the juice was really worth it. This fresh squeezed juice was so delicious. And I know citron and olive doesn't sound good together, but I promise it was. For dinner, we stayed in Futian district and we had this food from superb Canton delicacy. This was definitely the best Cantonese food that I had on my trip. Later that night, we went to Nanshang district to go see a mall. And we also got tea from shan. The tea itself was pretty good, like it was pretty milky. But the problem was that the wait was so long because there's only 2 people working and then there's so many orders. And afterward, my brother complained about all the smoke that he inhaled from people smoking outside on the patio. The next morning, I stopped by Olalagao near Seungwan Station to get some egg tarts. After I ate the first one, I couldn't stop eating, so then I ate all 3. It was almost as good as Lord Stowe's in Macau. After finishing, I went back into the bakery to go get the pistachio bun and the grape tart. I didn't actually get to eat this one, but my grandma and my brother said that it was good.
So this restaurant here is called Young-Gae, and they're located in Central. They're famous for their roast goose. They're also famous for their goose liver sausages, but I'm not that big of a fan. I prefer regular lapchaung. However, the peanut sauce on the roast goose was just perfect.
And over here is the feng zhao, which is chicken feet, and it's just traditional dim sum. It was good. After a group Pilates class in Causeway Bay, we headed over to Ba Sao Tea, where they give you an opportunity to brew your own tea. We sat at the store for like 90 minutes, and it was so good that my mom actually ordered some tea leaves to bring back home. At Moi Moi Thai in Tsim Sha Tsui Mira Place, my brother and I met my dad and his friend. It was expensive and not that good, but they did keep refilling my water. Here in Moco, we went to Shenzhen to go get some Taiwanese-style noodles. We ended up getting a couple other things, and my mom definitely ordered way too much, but it was all pretty good. I treated my family to Haiti right after, but this Haiti was so slow. Like, it took 30 minutes for them to make 3 drinks. Here in Hong Kong, I got this mango mochi, which is also called lo mai ci or nuo vi ci. It wasn't as good as cheng zhao, but it was still really delicious. On the same walk, we passed by some street roasted chestnuts and a Driscoll's. So in the bag are some roasted chestnuts. You have to break them open and eat the inside, and they were still really hot. And I'm lazy, so I didn't eat many of them. Something I did eat a lot of is Driscoll berries. I had 2 from my dad, and then I got my own after following them on Instagram. After some free time, we went shopping in Festival Walk or Yaoyetsing. During a break, I wanted to go get some Hana Musubi merch, like a t-shirt or a hat or something, but they didn't have any, so I had to settle for that musubi and drink. This really is my favorite place to buy fast food, and they've never let me down. For dinner, we celebrated my uncle's birthday at City Tuzhou restaurant. Every time I come here, my family always orders the hairy crab, which isn't my favorite because it's so much work, but it is a delicacy. Here are some other good dishes from the restaurant. While this isn't my first choice for dinner, it's always nice to have my family as company. I might have brought Hana Musubi in my backpack up Daimo-san just to show you this view. Of course, something that Chinese people do is hike and then eat exotic food at the top. In my final night in Hong Kong, I went back to Take to get my family 2 drinks, but they didn't want any, so I had to drink it all by myself. What a shame. I met them that night at Daiging Hin and Moko for some Cantonese-style dinner. The food was really, really delicious, but it was on the expensive side, so I guess you get what you pay for here.
On my final morning in Hong Kong, I had my final meal at Zhengdao in the departures terminal of Hong Kong Airport. I ordered the most normal meal you could get at Zhengdao, which is their wonton min. It's their most famous dish. If you happen to pass by Zhengdao, I do recommend that you try it, but my parents do think it's expensive. Finally, on the Hong Kong Express airplane between Hong Kong and Tokyo, my parents ordered me bo zai fan. It wasn't that good, and I don't recommend that you try it. If you're on a budget airline, don't get the food. At least don't get it unless you're really, really hungry. And that's a pretty exhaustive list of all the food and drink I had during my vacation. I hope it gives you some inspiration, and if you have any questions about the food, I'd love to help in the comments below. Thank you!